Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Welcome to another reading vlog. I really don't know how long this reading vlog is gonna be. I don't really know a lot about my plans for this reading vlog, but I just wanted to start one. And I am in the middle of a couple books, and so I want to finish those. And also I think I want to start another one because I have this one checked out from the library and I'm really excited about it. And so I also hope to get to that one in here, but I might be overly ambitious. I'm unsure how much I can get through, but let's start with the books I'm in the middle of. So first of all, I'm about 60% of the way through Warrior Girl on Earth by Angeline Boulley. This is the companion novel, kind of sequel novel to, where is it? Can I reach it? I can't reach it. Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, which I really, really loved. It was one of my favorite books of, I believe, 2021. And this one is following the niece of Donis, who is the main character in Firekeeper's Daughter. I really like the way Angeline Boulley writes, and it's definitely like kind of a slower contemporary with a sprinkle of mystery. I wouldn't say the mystery is like the center focus. It's very much on this community and it's like history and the things that Indigenous communities have to go through, especially in the US specifically. And so it's got a lot of really great conversations, and I will be finishing this one first because this one's like the one I'm most into at the moment. So then I'm about 70 pages into The 100 Years War on Palestine, A History of Settler Colonialism and Resistance. I would like to go back and tab all of the pages that I had read previously with the highlights. Go ahead and tab them. So I have this in here, but I also want to make a lot more progress on this. This is a little bit slower. I finished Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. I finished that one just the other day, and that one was a lot faster of a read. This one is just a bit more dense because it's very much history focused, and I'm really enjoying it, but I'm just reading at a bit slower pace. So I'm hoping to make some good progress in this. I've been trying to just carve out time every day to read. I haven't read nonfiction in almost like 2 years, which is really sad because it was one of my genres that I used to read actually primarily before I started booktube, but it's just fallen to the wayside. So I'm really just like kind of getting back into reading nonfiction, and it's reminding me how much I used to love it and why it's important to continue to read nonfiction, because there's so many things I am learning. And so yeah, this is one that I'm really eager to continue, and it's got just so much that I'm learning from it, and it's very important right now to be learning this type of stuff and, you know, supporting Palestine in any way I can. So I'm going to be continuing that. And then there is the library book that I've just seen such good reviews, and I'm not a big sci-fi reader, but it's really, really piqued my interest and I've heard really great reviews on it. So that's Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adebawenya, and he has written other things, but this one is gotten a lot of hype in the sci-fi realm, and I believe it's like kind of emulating like Roman like gladiator wars with critique on the prison system, and we're basically having prisoners that are trying to fight for their like release, but the game is kind of rigged, and I think we're following a main character who is like really close to like winning where she would be released, but I think that then they start to keep moving the goalposts so that she can't really get out, and it's like people who are not in prison are getting to pay to watch these. And so I think it's going to have a lot of commentary. And I'm also really excited to read this because of just reading Freedom is a Constant Struggle, which has a lot of parallels to, and talks a lot about racism in the US and the prison system and critiquing the prison system. I think this will be like a really good pairing with it. And so I really want to try this. It looks really good. And I haven't heard a negative review about it. And I think that this kind of sci-fi might be something I could get into because it's not like space and stuff. It's just more like futuristic. So again, one of my goals this year was to kind of explore more into the sci-fi genre to see what I like. And this one has just been calling me. So I hope to get to this very soon. It's a new release too, so I need to like return it in a timely fashion. So I think really once I finish Firekeeper's Daughter, nope, Warrior Girl Unearthed, I think I might want to start on this. So here's the tentative TBR. We're getting rid of our couch that is falling apart in the living room because the literal back is falling off of it. And my sister was kind enough to gift us a couch that they were going to get rid of. So we're going to do that on Sunday. We're going to get rid of one couch and get a new one. So I'm very excited about that. And that's kind of all my plans for the weekend. It's a very chill weekend. So yeah, let's just get into the vlog, see what we get up to.
me tell you everything I've seen, the friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time. You gotta let me know if I'm out of line. But there's some words that I just wanna hear you say, to put it all straight before this night turns into day, and then I'm on my way. Yeah, yes, I'm on my way. A bit naive and so eager to please. You know I played for love, but it got me on my knees.
So I wanted to check in because yesterday I finished Warrior Girl Unearthed and I wanted to give thoughts. So I think there's a lot of strong points to this book in terms of what it's trying to talk about. I feel like Angeline Boulley had a very clear goal in discussing the repatriation of goods from Native Americans and how a lot of museums and collectors have stolen these artifacts and have taken them and like literally dug up graves. Ancestors have been dug up and like bones and stuff are in these museums and they are not being returned, even though there was a act that was passed. And I can't remember when she said the exact date, but I think it was in the 90s, and it is called Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. And it says that of the approximately 208,000 human remains that have been reported by institutions since 1990, more than 108,000 ancestors have yet to be repatriated. This means that as of September 2022, more ancestors remain in collections, 52%, than have been returned, 48%. And there are thousands, and some estimate millions, more ancestors in boxes and in basements all over the world held by institutions and private collectors that we do not know about. So I feel like this book was very clear in discussing that and discussing the hoops that these communities have to go through to try to get their ancestors back. And there's a lot of things where so many are just not returned because of these loopholes that museums and collectors and stuff like go through. And with private collectors specifically too, like they can auction things off on private sites and stuff for tons of money, and so it's like a very lucrative thing for them to do, and how like wrong that is, and how returning artifacts to them is so important. And so that discussion I think was very important and well done, and just observing too like the different stages of people are with their journey of that, and how, you know, some people want to just follow the law and some people want to go a different route, and just like the difference of opinions many people have. So I think all that was interesting, and there's like a mystery too, and there's more talk of like Native women and like how a lot of people take advantage of them, and that a lot of Native women have gone missing and have been killed, and how like not a lot is done for that. So I think all those conversations were really important. I do have to say I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first one. There was just a lot more in the first one that endeared me to it. I like Perry as a main character, but I think that the story itself was just like the pacing was a little off. It does say Angeline Boulley wrote her first novel in 10 years it took her to write, and in this one she had to write it in a year, and how she really struggled with that. And I do feel like that kind of comes across just because I think that you can see how much like time she spent in Firekeeper's Daughter making like every detail perfect, and I think that because she was rushed to get this out, it isn't to the same level as Firekeeper's Daughter, though I still think it was really good. And I kind of wish we had gotten maybe like Perry's perspective and Pauline's perspective, because they're twins. I think that could have been nice, but at the same time, this very much is Perry's story. The ending specifically for me, I think, was a little confusing on how everything resolves itself, and the epilogue kind of like ties up things, but it didn't really fully make sense to me. So with that, I think this would probably be like a 3.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed certain parts of it, and then I think certain things like pacing and plot were just a little of a miss for me. And I don't feel like the Firekeeper's Daughter ends in a way that you have to read this one, so if you just want to read Firekeeper's Daughter as a standalone, like you could totally do that. And I don't think this ruined Firekeeper's Daughter in any way. I just think it wasn't quite as strong as her other one. So those are my thoughts on Warrior Girl Unearthed. I think I'm going to start changing All Stars today because I've been really wanting to try that one. So I saw that Jess from Jess Owens had reading sprints yesterday with Ray from Bookmark Chronicles and Robin from Robin Reads, and I want to watch that and read Changing All Stars. I have found that doing reading sprints has really helped me to keep on reading in times when I find myself just like scrolling on my phone. Having the reading sprints helps me to stay off my phone. And I've also been using this tree app. I think I might have shown it before, but I've been consistently using it. And it's this little tree, and you get to choose your different trees, and then it grows a forest. So that's like the past month, and then you can see it by year and stuff. And so that's been helping me a lot, because if you stop it before the timer's done, your tree dies, and I don't want to have dead trees on my thing. So it really keeps me going. So if you're like me and having a hard time with like productivity on certain things, the Forest app is good. I think it's free. If not, it's maybe like a couple dollars. I bought it a long time ago. If I did, I think I've had it for years, so I don't really know if it is. But you don't have to do like in-app purchases if you don't want. You just earn points every time you do the timer, and that can get you more trees. So I'm gonna do reading sprints and read, and I will let you know my thoughts in a little bit once I've gotten into Changing All Stars.
Tell me that I'm walking through walls. Tell me that I'm walking through doors.
Alright, so I have done reading for a bit, and I've got to 77 pages of Changing All Stars, and I have thoughts on this. So I think if you are picking this up and you want some like nonfiction to go with this, because this is very much rooted in like a future society, but it's very much rooted in the stuff that's happened now and how our prison system works now. And these are two books that I read that I think would help if you don't really have a ton of knowledge on the prison system. So this is a graphic novel, and it's called The Race to Incarcerate. It's a graphic retelling, and it just kind of goes through a lot of like history and legal things that have led up to where we are now. U.S. prisons from inception to export. So it's like how things really got made. So it's a really good like introductory way to get into this topic. But also there's The Politics of Injustice, Crime and Punishment in America by Catherine Beckett and Theodore Sasson. So this is just like really goes through like the criminal justice policy and how the rate of incarceration has gone way up in the United States, and yet the crime rate has actually dropped, and how there's just a disproportionate amount of people of color, especially Black Americans, in prison systems, and how there's just a lot of injustice within the system and how it's a flawed system. There's another one out there called The New Jim Crow, which also goes over these topics. So I really feel like these are good like nonfictions to pair with this. I also recently finished Angela Davis' Freedom is a Constant Struggle, and she talks a lot about the Black Lives Matter movement and the prison system and things like that. So that's also one that you could read with this, because I think that pairing those, if you haven't, is a really good way to like really understand what he's trying to say in here. So in this, we're kind of following like multiple perspectives. The main two people are Thurwar and Stax, and they're both fighters, and they're in part of this, it's called the Chain Gang, and they are all like, there's like 8 of them, I want to say, in their own like link, as they call it, and they can't fight each other, but they're fighting other links, and they basically are all put in jail for different reasons, and you're finding out different people's reasonings and stuff, but you're following them as they're fighting in their battles. Thurwar she is about to be released soon. She's on like the last tier before you get to the freed tier, and then Stax is like a level or 2 down from her. And so you're following them and their battles, but then you're also getting snippets of other people who go, like there's one guy who is moving from one ward into the program. It's called the CAPE program, where they are gonna fight. And then you also got like a perspective of a spectator, because it's very much a thing that people pay to go to and watch. And so far I'm enjoying it. I think the sci-fi elements of it aren't too like crazy. Like there is like, instead of handcuffs, they're like implanted with stuff, and it can make you do different things. So like makes you silent, and if you speak you get like these really big shocks that are really, really painful. And then there's like where it like pulls you in different directions. So like it really is also talking with like bodily autonomy and stuff, because they're like literally implanted with things. And it's really like one of those books where it's really hard to read. You get where like Thurwar has like won, and she's seeing like her fans after and like being like paraded through, and everyone wants to like touch her and stuff. And it's just really like this idea that like her body isn't her own, and the things that they have to do just to like survive in this system. Because if you don't opt in, you get at least like 25 years to life or more, which is like similar to the US prison system. And it's just like this is like offering a chance to get out in 3 years, but like most people don't make it past like the first 3 weeks, they said. So I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm just also like interested in having another dive into sci-fi and seeing what I could like. So I'm gonna continue this, and we'll see what more of my thoughts are when I'm more of the way through. But I just wanted to give these recommendations as well, in case you were looking for some nonfiction to go with your fiction. But yeah, I'm gonna check back in later. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure. Tomorrow we're getting a new couch, so that's exciting. So I will take you along with that. And yeah, we're just gonna see where the day takes us, I guess.
Tell me that when I go out, be the ghost of yours. Walking through doors. Tell me that when I die, I'll be the ghost of yours.
Okay, the new couch is in. It's now like, what is it, 12:30 in the afternoon. It's taken a while. Now, don't let this nice look fool you, because the rest of the house looks like
utter chaos!
That room is a mess. I'll show you what this room looks like, because so this is the office, just stuff all over. So yeah, that's the office, just stuff is everywhere, and we've got a lot to do. So I think I'm just gonna do some cleaning up. I don't know how much I'll show because we're tired. It's been like 2 hours-ish. So just want to give a little update. We've got stuff there to clean, stuff stuff there to clean, stuff over here. So yeah, I cannot express how much my hair has been annoying me and getting in the way of everything, but I have a haircut scheduled on Wednesday and I cannot wait. So this is gonna be gone. But to the thing you actually care about, this book. I have gotten to just over the 50% mark of Changing All-Stars, and I'm really, really liking it. I started, oh, by the way, it's Monday now. I checked in a little bit yesterday. I don't really remember any of what I got yesterday, but it was just kind of a hectic day. We were moving this couch in. It's my sister's couch, and they were getting rid of it, so we took it. And you can see that Pippi loving it. And you can't see Khalidi, but he's down between the couch and the window. He feels very stealthy down there. So I didn't really record much and I didn't read a lot, but I did start the audiobook for Changing All-Stars on my way to work this morning. And I think I want to read it that way for the rest of the time because I just got over the 50% mark and I really like the audiobook. I think the book was really good to begin with, but listening to the audiobook has really made it come to life even more. I think it's a full cast narration because I did look it up and it is 4 narrators and it's really, really good. It really makes it like come to life even more. So I think I want to continue that way because it's just making it even more enjoyable to read. And thoughts on the 50% mark. I feel like it's one of those books that it doesn't have like the biggest plot. Like the main plot line is that you're following Thurwar and her getting to like the time of being freed and being, there's only one other person who's ever been high freed as they call it. And so she's getting to her time. She only has, since the start of the book, she only has 3 more fights left until she's freed. And so it's mainly like that and like the different things that are kind of happening and changing along the way that's going to make it harder and harder for her. And the main overarching theme is to discuss the prison system in the US. And it's using the footnotes too to have real history shown and how that history could land us in this situation. So it's got a lot of commentary and that's like a lot of the book too, is just to make you think about this topic. So as far as plot, if you're like a very plot driven reader, I would say it's a bit slower. It's not quite action packed or straightforward, but I think the commentary it's having is really interesting and the way it's doing it and having all these perspectives. So you're seeing so many different sides of these games and like how they affect different people and how people on the outside are viewing these people as almost not human and they're watching like every part of their life. So even when they're not in the ring like fighting people to the death, they're being videotaped for the world to see as if it's like a reality show and how their privacy is non-existent and just the impacts on them psychologically and like what they have to go through. And then also like you're seeing the people who are watching it and how like they've just made that normal and they don't feel like real people or they get like an obsession with people. So it's very, very, very interesting and I'm really, really liking it. It's unlike anything I've read before. I know I'm not a big sci-fi reader, so for some this might not be like a new thing, but for me it's really opening my horizons in the sci-fi world, which is what I was hoping for. I think it would be like sci-fi dystopian, so maybe that's my vibe, but I'm really liking it. Highly recommend the audiobook. Hello, it's been a while since I checked in with you. I think the last time was maybe Monday. You know, it's the time of the month, so just doing anything like getting out of bed and going to work is a win for me. So I have not been here to update you, but I have been doing a lot of reading and I want to check in with you because I've got a lot to say. I don't think I finished my thoughts on this. It's been a little bit, so I'm not sure what the last thing I left you with, but I remember checking in around the 75% mark and I ended up finishing this and I really, really loved it. I feel like I want to give it 5 stars. I've sat with it for a little bit and it's one of those books where I wasn't sure if I wanted to give it 5 stars just because the ending, how it ends, I just didn't feel satisfied with it. But then like upon reflection, I'm like, it feels like the only way this could have ended. And I think that it's not a book that's going to make you feel like everything's wrapped up in a very neat bow, and that was what I was struggling with. But I think that that's actually for the best, and I think the story he was trying to tell makes so much sense, and like was done so well in here, and I felt so many emotions, and I really liked the full cast narration. I liked how it brought together all these moving parts in a way that felt really cohesive, and through the writing as well, like not just the audiobook, it wasn't just the narrators that did it, but it was just the way all these like different stories were woven together to make the whole story. Like it's definitely a story about Thurwar and Stax, but it's also a bigger conversation, like I said before, about the prison system in the US. And I do really feel like it touches on so many different arguments too that have been made throughout, about just like why the prison system is the way it is, and like any kind of, when you bring up any kind of change to the system, there's a lot of arguments that come up for why it should be the way it is, and I feel like this addresses that in a very nuanced way. Yeah, I really think 5 stars for me. This is a way out of my comfort zone kind of sci-fi. Like I really don't read this kind of stuff, and I'm really happy I branched out, and I'm really happy that sci-fi this year I've tried different things, because you just, whenever you branch out, you know, you start to realize what you can really love in a book. And so yeah, super happy with it. I would highly recommend it. It's a perfect combination of sci-fi with conversations about the real world, and yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend. 5 stars. Then I'm definitely not going to finish this month, which is sad, but it's like taking me a really long time to read because it is a bit dense, but I'm really, like, I think it's really important. I'm really interested in it, and that is the 100 Years War on Palestine. So I'm now on page 97, so I just got to the third declaration of war, 1967. So there's multiple, like, checkpoints within the history of Palestine and, like, how things came to be. So I'm on technically the third chapter. And yeah, it's all like super interesting and very informative. I just, that's weird. Why does this go from chapter 3 to chapter 5? Am I missing chapter 4? No, there it is. It's like, how did I skip chapter 4? Anyway, yeah, it's all like super interesting and very like important to learn about, and I'm learning so much. I just think I've always been this way when I'm learning history, that I take it at such a slow pace because I don't absorb history quite as easily as other things. Like for me, readings always come really easily, but history itself has taken me a lot longer to fully comprehend when I'm reading it. So I'm taking this slow, and I do want to sit down this weekend and highlight, because I have a lot of highlights on my Kobo that I want to put in here. So still reading this, still really like it, which by the time I'm recording this, it is Read Palestine week, so it's reading from Palestinian authors, and this is what I'm going to be reading for that. And I'm almost done with a couple books here, so I do want to start Against a Loveless World as well to read for that. But let's see. I am also reading this because I had finished Shinging All Stars, and so I picked up Rogue Protocol, and I am about 25% of the way through, and this is the third in the Murderbot series by Martha Wells. And in this, we're following Murderbot, and it's an AI that has kind of hacked its own system and has gotten itself involved in some conspiracy. And in the first one, it's just trying to save these humans and realizes that there's more going on. So in this one, it's going to another, like, what's the word? Deserted station and trying to figure out what's going on there. So it definitely is one that it's like a continuation series, so each one builds off the other one. And so I'm really interested in this, though I am missing the friend that it made in the second one because it's not in this one. So I'm waiting for that friend to come back. But yeah, I'm having a good time. It's always just a really fast, like easy, kind of like cozy, I would say, sci-fi. Like there is some tension and stuff, but it's just a fun character to follow and easy to get into and just read in a day. I do think I want to finish this tonight. It won't take me very long. And so yeah, this is also something I've been reading, just picking up, putting down kind of thing. And then I've been also reading, and especially on audiobook, Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I've had this on my TBR for probably like a year or two, probably 2 years now. And the thing that always kind of put me off from it, even though it's historical fantasy, is that it's zombies. And I have to say, I'm at the 75% mark and I cannot put it down. Like, I had to get myself to come out and record this because I was like, I'm going to finish this whole book before even updating because I'm just devouring it. And it's an alternative history where basically during the Civil War, there was like a plague that kind of started, which caused people to be undead. And so now, like, if you get bit, you get turned. And they never actually use the word zombies in here, which I found really interesting. And we're following our main character, Jane. And she's sent to this school where black girls are sent to learn how to fight. And basically, once they get their training done, they're sent to like protect white people. She's like kind of in the middle of this training and she starts getting involved in a mystery of sorts. Is this super crooked? Have I been talking this whole time with it like just incredibly crooked? Is that worse? Apologies if this has been crooked the whole time. So yeah, so she starts getting involved in like something in this town is kind of weird and it is a mystery of like what's going on and learning more about the undead as should they call it. And it was interesting because at like the 50% mark, it really took a turn that I was not expecting. And we went in like, I wouldn't say a completely different direction because I can see how it all connects, but it definitely a different direction than I thought we were going to be going. And I really enjoy it. I'm having a really good time with this. It's hard to say that I'm having a really good time with this because it's one of those books that is dealing so much with racism and like slavery and things like that. So it is like a triggering book, and especially we just got a scene that was like super triggering. So like it's not a happy-go-lucky historical fantasy, but I think it's so well done, and it's also talking about this history of the United States in a way that's so interesting to read about. And how I've said this in like the Conductors, because the Conductors is post Civil War, how it's just like taking magic and taking this different circumstance and just showing how history would still kind of play out in similar ways. They would have just found workarounds for things, and in this, like the undead are still attacking and the white people have kind of made it so that black people are essentially having to just protect them from getting hurt. So they're just on the front lines, like being sacrificed all the time to these undead and aren't given really good tools a lot of the times. And so it's just still like perpetuating the harm that was done during like that time period anyway. So I just find that really interesting and a very good conversation. I really like Jane as a character. I think Bonnie Turpin is the audiobook narrator for this, and I really like her too. I really like too, I've never really had this happen in audiobooks, but when they're whispering, like she actually whispers in it, and I really like it. It just really makes it feel full as an audiobook. And yeah, so I like Jane, and I like her friendship with Catherine, and I like just seeing Jane progress as a character throughout these events. She's a very smart and tough person, but yet you're seeing all these situations too that threaten to like break her because there's so much just like horrible things that happen, and seeing her like evolve in how she's dealing with these different things and the ways that she just uses her smarts to like get around certain things, and the way that she often has to kind of make herself into a version that she knows the white people think that she should be, and that's how she kind of like gets through different scenarios. So like example is like she's really well educated, she can read, she can do all these things, but she doesn't let people in on that because that would be one, dangerous for her to know how to read, but also it helps her to like kind of remain like the dumb black woman and they don't question her. And so there's just a lot of conversations about that as well, about having to fit yourself into a version that someone else wants you to be, so that you can remain safe. And so yeah, I just think there's so many good conversations. I read Ophi's Ghost by Justina Ireland, which was a middle grade that was like historical fantasy as well, and it was dealing with, I think it was in the 1920s if I remember, and it was dealing with like ghosts, but it also deals with like topics of racism and stuff like that in the US. And so I just really like how Justina Ireland handles these topics. I think that her stories are really interesting and really well crafted and really spark a good conversation. So yeah, I feel like I'm really winning with these kind of books. So that's my update. I'm gonna finish this tonight because I can't stop, won't stop. I've also been really into the game on my Switch, Spiritfarer, which I've played before, but I started it over again, and it's just the coziest game. It's You can see it's called Spiritfarer. I also got this Town Scraper game for like $2 and you just build a little town. So I kind of want to play that while I read because it's just very mindless. Like you literally just build a little town. Or I might play Spiritfarer and listen to it. But I'm worried that I won't pay attention to the audiobook if I'm playing that because that happens a lot. So we'll see. But those are my plans. Is gonna play my Switch, finish my book, and hopefully maybe finish Rogue Protocol today so that I can really focus on Against the Loveless World tomorrow. So yeah, those are my updates. I have been here a while, so I'm gonna let you go. I probably won't check back in until tomorrow. Hello, I wanted to wrap up this vlog because I finished Deathless Divide last night and I didn't update you. I can't remember if I wrapped this one up, but I did finish Rogue Protocol as well, and this I would give about a 3-star. I really enjoyed it. I had fun. Maybe 3.5. But I just think that there's not a lot to talk about with this one. So maybe it wasn't the best to pick for a vlog. But I just want to say I enjoy them. I had a fun time. I was laughing out loud. It gave what the other ones were giving. I just really loved Artificial Condition the most so far. So this one just didn't really quite compare. And then I read Dread Nation by Justine Ireland. And this one I have to give 5 stars. I also really, really love this one. I've had some wins in this vlog. I really loved this alternative history. I really loved Jane as a main character. Her way she like dealt with situations, I just really enjoyed. I really enjoyed her like comments that she would give you from in her head of what she was thinking when she would say stuff, or like the things she would say under her breath. It was really good, really entertaining, and also just a very good story about like post-Civil War America and make it zombies. So I'm not a big zombie person, but I've had 2 different like books in here that usually are not my thing, but have proven to be 5 stars and really, really good. So I'm really happy I've gone out of my comfort zone. This one I put off for so long because it was zombies, but really the zombies are kind of like lesser part of the story. I think the second one would be more zombies. It's very much like a historical fantasy, which is really up my alley. So very happy to pick this one up, and I will get to Deathless Divide very soon because I need to know what happened. And it's nice that it's a duology, so I can just finish it out before the end of the year. So there you have it. There are all the books I read in this reading vlog. It's been a long time, so I'm pretty sure I read this one in this reading vlog. But if not, find my thoughts in my wrap up. But yeah, I had a great reading time with these, and I'm just happy to have some books to talk to you about. But that's all for now. I will see you in another vlog soon.